The Marvels is coming out in about a month. And the early box office tracking came out, said it was going to come in about $75 million opening weekend, which is good for most movies, not so good by Marvel standards, but we'll see how that transpires. And hot on the heels of that box office projection coming out comes a brand new Marvel's TV spot that just got released. And it's a good little TV spot. It's fine. But at the end of the TV spot, you hear Captain Marvel say, "I called a friend of mine," to which then the shot goes to outer space and you see Carol's ship and a Bifrost hurling to the ship.
Why does their ship look like Blue Beetle's?
It does a little bit, doesn't it? Now, then it smash cuts inside where you see the Bifrost coming in, and then emerging out of the Bifrost is you see a figure starting to emerge out of the Bifrost. All right. The implication here, the implied message to the average moviegoer is Thor is going to show up. Now, that doesn't mean that's what's happening, but the message they're implying to the audience is Thor is going to show up. And I don't think it's coincidental that on one day, box office projections come out that show it to be, again, a good opening weekend, but not good by Marvel standards. And then just a couple days later, a new TV spot comes out that hints to the audience that Thor may be showing up. Now, it could be somebody else. Let's look at why it could be Thor, all right? The two biggest reasons I think there would be to assume that they're talking about, and that they're counting on the audience assuming that they're talking about is Thor, is number one, Carol says, "I called a friend of mine." There's only one person she's actually had a conversation with in the grand thing. And that, other than Black Widow, it's Thor. That's the one she had the conversation with. That's the one she has a relationship with. The second biggest thing to keep in mind that they're implying that it's Thor is simply the fact that there's a Bifrost. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Bifrost in the MCU is I'm not even want to call it a mechanism, but for lack of a better phrase, the mechanism by which, some Asgardians can travel across the galaxy in an instant, right? Now, the Bifrost on Asgard is gone. And they name dropped in the MCU that there's not a Bifrost anymore. Thor, however, has Stormbreaker. And as Peter Dinklage mentioned when explaining Stormbreaker to Thor, Stormbreaker can summon a Bifrost. And we've seen Thor using Stormbreaker to summon a Bifrost. So as far as we know, the only Bifrost in existence in the MCU is Stormbreaker. So what the audience or what the studio is counting on here, the studio is counting on that little shot of a Bifrost and then maybe some kind of a figure coming in. They want the audience to assume that that's Thor. Chris Hemsworth's going to be in this movie. Better go out and get your tickets. That's what they're trying to do. Now, it is possible that Disney are being duplicitous dickheads and trying to trick the audience into thinking Thor is going to show up when really it's somebody else. But who could that somebody else be? Well, there's a couple of options. Option one, in no particular order, is Valkyrie. Valkyrie's an option. Valkyrie is an Asgardian. Valkyrie, while we've never seen any interaction between Captain Marvel and her, they were both there in the Battle of Endgame. So maybe you can make an assumption that at some point, maybe they had a conversation or two and whatever. Again, I don't see how characters we never saw truly interact on screen as Carol Danvers goes, "I'm going to call a friend." Well, why wouldn't it be Thor? But Valkyrie, great warrior. Brie Larson and her have wanted to do something together for a long time. So that's a possibility, Valkyrie. Problem, again, besides the fact that we've never really seen them interact on screen before, is that she doesn't have a Bifrost. Still, they can come up with a story device to maybe get around that. Another option, Beta Ray Bill. People have wanted for a very long time for Beta Ray Bill to show up. Kevin Feige hears his audience. This could be an opportunity. Now, again, Beta Ray Bill faces the same two problems here that face Valkyrie. Number one, we've never seen Captain Marvel interact with Beta Ray Bill. So I don't know, maybe they became friends when she was off in deep space all those decades, and you could say that, I suppose. But again, lack of a Bifrost. Now, they could say that Beta Ray Bill has a weapon similar to Stormbreaker that also can summon and use a Bifrost. So there's that as well. So Beta Ray Bill is another option. They're implying it's Thor. Probably Thor, but if it's not, maybe Valkyrie, maybe Beta Ray Bill. Third option is Lady Sif. Lady Sif, of course, came back into the fold in the MCU in the last movie. She, as Guardian, battled alongside Thor in the Warriors 3. One of the closest friends to Thor, maybe met Captain Marvel through that. I mean, it would at least maybe explain the Bifrost, where like maybe Lady Sif, being friends with Thor, close lifelong friends, says, send me to wherever, and maybe Thor send her off that way. So, I mean, there are a couple of other options. They're clearly implying it's Thor. They want the audience to think it's Thor. And maybe it is Thor. The other options I see are maybe Valkyrie, Beta Ray Bill, Lady Sif. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Fume. Quitting cold turkey is great in theory, but you and I both know it's way more difficult than that. And that's why there's a better way to break your bad habits. We're not talking about some fake online promises. We're talking about our sponsor, Fume. And they look at the problem in a different way. Instead of a drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from your habit? Fume is an innovative, award-winning flavor-aired device that does just that. See, instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses delicious flavors. You get it. Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you're free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit easy. I personally didn't know what to expect when I first got my Fume. I mean, I've never liked vapes, but my goodness, the taste. The first time I tried it, I was completely sold on it. It was incredible. Stopping is something we all put off because it's hard, but switching to Fume is easy, enjoyable, and even fun. Fume has served over 150,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that can't be you. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com and use the code CAMPEA to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com and use the code CAMPEA to save an additional 10% off your order today. Chris, you saw this. Mm-hmm. Who do you think could be options? Like if it's not Thor, who do you think are the most likely options? What are the problems with those theories? All that kind of stuff. How do you see it?
I would go with Valkyrie. Yes, there's only one Bifrost, but she's king. She can make people do stuff for her. She can climb that Bifrost.
But they don't have
go hang
Bifrost.
Out. Well, she can call Thor, though, who comes and hangs out in Asgard sometimes.
Maybe. So
she's
king.
She
calls
She
Valkyrie,
can do what she wants.
And then Valkyrie calls Thor, and then Thor goes...
It's a lot of phone tag. It's a whole to-do. They have to go through the motions, but it is what it is. They also show Valkyrie fighting with Captain Marvel, though, like alongside Captain Marvel in the Legacy trailer. And I feel like that little tease right there is, hey, remember that those two have been near each other before? Remember that's why so many of you started writing slash fiction about them? Wee! I think that's another thing that Kevin Feige listens to is partnerships that the fans are interested in. Because so many fans, after seeing them just in the same battle sequence, went, oh, I like them. They should smooch. So that's something that both actors have talked about, too, of wanting to have their characters have an on-screen relationship. A bunch of fans want that, so I can see that happening, mostly just because of that fandom shipping aspect of it, truly, and that little bit of the teaser in there. Beta Ray Bill, though, if you want that audience to have a big ol' pop, because even if you don't know who Beta Ray Bill is, you see that horse-faced, literally horse-faced, classic Thor garb-wearing dude show up. You're going to just have your mind blown. And then diehard comic book readers who have been just dying to have him as part of the universe for as long as I can remember, would lose it too. So if you're not going to have it be Thor, have it be this guy. Have it be him who pops up, because then your diehard comic book fans are going to lose it. And then everyone else who is new to the fold is going to go, oh, I need to know who this guy is.
Or you mean, ooh.
Get out.
Wow.
And they've got to have him talk just like that.
It's just Mr. Ed.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, Mr. Ed, like, oh.
Well, hey there, Carol.
Captain Marvel.
I thought you could use a hand or a hoof.
Oh. See, it's a gift that keeps on giving.
So he came for a carrot.
Don't laugh.
Or what?
If I mean, that is something that could happen if Taika Waititi just
That's
directed
very
it.
true.
He can have Beta Ray Bill
I think
like
you should
that.
sound like a horse.
Yeah, it might be the goats.
But I mean, I still don't care what anybody says. I love the goats in the world.
I like him too.
But here's the thing: as much as people have wanted Beta Ray Bill, is the Marvels the right place to introduce a Beta Ray Bill? Do you think?
I feel like that could work. I
Yes,
think so. We've got all the
yes.
fun cosmic stuff.
Yeah.
We've got an accuser back in the fold. I think that just kind of canonically makes sense.
I always thought if you were going to introduce him, it would have been like through a Guardians or something, but this
Yeah.
could work too.
I think so.
Talk about the interest in the character, especially if he comes and he does something like he saves the actual. Because Beta Ray Bill is a strong.
He's
strong,
insanely powerful.
Yeah,
Insanely
if he
powerful.
just came in and just wrecked everything. I'm watching his movie, whenever it's going to come out. I mean, just seeing like just this character come on screen. Like, I love all like characters that aren't human in everything. Like, if he comes in, man, I would watch that. I would watch a solo movie of his, no matter what. I just
So,
think it'd be-
but now let me get back to one of the original kind of premises I brought up here. Chris and I were talking off screen, and we're talking about the possibility of maybe like being Valkyrie and stuff like that. And I said, here's the thing: if they wanted to bring Valkyrie in, you could put her in the trailer. The only reason you don't show it being Valkyrie is if you're Disney. The only reason if that is indeed Valkyrie coming through the Bifrost, which I still have my doubts that it is, but if it was, then the only reason you don't show it being Valkyrie is because you purposefully want the audience to think it's Thor. And they are literally trying to trick people into buying tickets by putting something like that up. Because like Valkyrie appearing in a cameo, that's not Iron Man showing up that you got to keep that hidden.
Oh,
right?
what if it's Iron Man's reanimated corpse? What if that's who's coming back?
Ooh, zombie.
What if?
Zombie Tony,
What if crossover?
another universe's variant of Tony
man,
Stark,
it'd be so
and
great.
it's Tom Cruise
Yeah.
Oh, let the wild
God.
speculation
Oh.
begin.
in a jet fighter plane.
I totally understand your point on that too, but Chris Hemsworth did say that he has taken a break from acting, and I know a cameo is not doing a full-fledged Thor movie, but I just don't know.
But he said he's that's the thing. I misunderstood him before. Like he was taking a break. He said he's going to slow down.
Yeah, hang out with his kids.
So that might not mean I'm not going to act at all in the next 2 or 3 years. It might say I'm only going to do a little bit in the next 2 to 3. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, and you're right. It would probably only need him on set for 2 or 3 days or something like
What
that.
if it's
Maybe.
Mobius?
Oh, I upset people in the chat.
Mobius. He called my
Love
friend
all
Mobius.
On a jet ski.
He shows up on a jet ski.
He's like, wow.
Apologies to the chat who said it was too soon to make fun of Tony's death. So
It's too soon.
my bad. My
Never
bad,
too
guys.
soon.
Tony
What is
died.
your what is
Robert's
your,
fine. He has a car show now. I don't know.
What is your out of left field guess?
Okay,
I
honestly,
gave you mine.
Like you would
way out of left field guess,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
still has some semblance of maybe it makes sense.
Yeah.
Groot. And I'll tell you why. Number one, you don't need an actor to do it. But number two, remember, what is the only thing in the universe that we know right now that can summon the Bifrost? Stormbreaker. What is half of Stormbreaker? Groot's arm.
Yeah.
And the only reason remember, you're asking me for way out in left field. Okay,
I'm not saying anything.
This is
I'm
the
just-
way out in left field.
Yeah, sure.
So, and also if you look at the silhouette that's coming through, and really we shouldn't be basing anything on the silhouette. But Jonathan, if you still got that picture around, if you can bring that up, the silhouette that's coming through the Bifrost,
Everything is revealed.
it's I see a little bit of Groot in the shape of the legs.
Long legs.
Very long legs. And
it might not even be one person. It could be three. It could be the Beastie Boys.
Could be.
I mean,
no,
it can't. It can't be.
Yeah, not all three of them anymore. I mean,
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
You know, if Kraven wasn't disallowed, it kind of looks like when Kraven was in the blue sky during No Way Home.
You know what? They're doing this. You don't like it, but I think it piques interest into the movie, right? Who could this be?
It absolutely does. I mean, look, 100%. Again, I don't think it's a coincidence that just 48 hours after the projections come out and the projections look kind of low for a Marvel movie, that they then tease a little something here that maybe get people thinking Chris Hemsworth might show up.
I said it was Deadpool.
Or Deadpool. I mean, that would be a real left.
Deadpool definitely could come on the.
But then you realize later on it's not Deadpool.
I'm still.
Marcus Vi is saying it's El Muerto. There you go, Ray. El Muerto.
There you go. But you know, it's not. It's just Bad Bunny as himself.
Bad Bunny's going to come through with the beat going.
This is just ridiculous now.
It's all going to be there. It's all
confirmed on here.
Confirmed. Now, some people bring up honestly, and I see it brought up in the live chat. Jane Foster. I mean. Yes, she is in Valhalla, but really, that was them writing her out of the MCU.
I would love to see her.
That was them saying she's dead, but don't be sad, everybody. She's got a happy ending. So I don't think we're going to see Jane return.
I like the idea in chat here. I don't know how you connect the Bifrost, but I like the idea of Nova. I think Nova would be really cool.
Again, no connection to
Captain Marvel. I don't understand how that part comes through then. It has to be somebody who's tied to Asgard in some way.
Well, you said Matt Damon.
I think Matt Damon would be hilarious.
And it's such a letdown. They think it's going to be Thor and it's him.
I think it'd be so funny if it was Matt Damon and the other Hemsworth. If they were just like, hey.
Man, who was Thor's roommate again in the shorts?
Oh, shoot. What was his name?
What was his name? Because he pops up in Thor Love and Thunder, remember?
Thor's roommate. Yeah, Daryl.
Thor's roommate, Daryl. Oh, that would be nice. Anyway, look, it's probably Thor. If not Thor, it could be Valkyrie. I do think it could be Lady Sif. I mean, they brought her back into the MCU for a reason. I think Beta Ray Bill's a possibility. But if it's anything other than Thor, then I think this is a pretty scummy, underhanded technique by them trying to trick people into thinking it might be Thor. Because the general average movie-going audience isn't thinking Beta Ray Bill or isn't thinking that. They're seeing the Bifrost. They're seeing they're thinking it's Thor. So I don't know. We'll see.
Now all I'm thinking is Beta Ray Bill, but you know.
Now a lot of people just got to be Beta Ray Bill or nothing. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.